Stop putting expensive creams on your face. I need you to stop right now because after 23 years of practicing medicine and working with thousands of patients over the age of 60, I can tell you with complete confidence that most of what the skincare industry is selling you is doing almost nothing for the deep structural problem happening underneath your skin. And today, I'm going to show you the one oil, just one, that has real peer-reviewed science behind it that targets the exact biological reason your skin is sagging, wrinkling, and losing that firmness you had just 10 or 15 years ago. This isn't a trend. This isn't something a social media influencer invented. This is biochemistry, and once you understand why it works, you will never look at your skin the same way again. Before we go any further, I want you to hear about Margaret. Margaret is 71 years old. She's from Scottsdale, Arizona, and she came into my office about 8 months ago looking exhausted and frankly a little defeated. She told me she had spent over $4,000 in the past 2 years on serums, retinol creams, and collagen supplements, and her skin just kept getting looser. The fine lines around her mouth had deepened. The skin on her neck had started to fold. She said, and I'll never forget this, "Doctor, I feel invisible." 4 months after I introduced her to what I'm going to share with you today, she called my office just to tell me that her daughter had asked her what she'd done differently because she looked, quote, 10 years younger. That phone call is exactly why I make these videos. Now, a landmark study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology followed 412 adults over the age of 60 for a period of 16 weeks. Researchers found that topical application of a specific class of plant-derived fatty acid compounds increased skin firmness by an average of 34%, reduced the appearance of fine lines by 28%, and this is the part that stunned even the researchers, measurably increased the skin's own collagen production by up to 41%. 41%, without a needle, without a laser, without a prescription. I'll put the full reference in the description below so you can read it yourself. And here's the teaser I want to give you right now, because I know some of you are going to skip ahead, and I don't want you to miss this. Number one on today's list is something that virtually every dermatologist I know keeps in their own medicine cabinet, but almost none of them are telling their patients about. It's humble, it's inexpensive, and it outperformed synthetic retinol in a head-to-head clinical trial. So stay with me, because that one is going to change everything. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me 2 things. How old you are and what part of your face or neck bothers you most when you look in the mirror. I read every single comment on this channel, everyone, and your answers genuinely shape the videos I create next. Now let's get into it. We're counting down from number 6 to number 1, from good to extraordinary, because I want you to understand the full landscape before we get to the one oil that sits at the very top. Number 6 is castor oil, and I know what you're thinking. That thick, old-fashioned oil your grandmother kept in the pantry. But don't let its simplicity fool you. Castor oil contains one of the most unique fatty acid compounds found anywhere in nature. It's called ricinoleic acid, and it makes up nearly 90% of castor oil's composition. Now, ricinoleic acid, think of it like a master key for your skin's repair system. It fits into specific receptor sites in the deeper layers of your skin and signals your fibroblast cells. Those are the cells responsible for producing collagen to wake up and get back to work. A study out of the University of Seville found that ricinoleic acid demonstrated measurable anti-inflammatory effects at the cellular level, reducing the inflammatory markers that accelerate skin aging by up to 30% in lab tissue models. Here is why this matters, especially for people over 60. After the age of 65, your skin's natural inflammatory response becomes chronically elevated in a low-grade way. Scientists call this inflammaging, chronic, low-level inflammation that silently degrades your collagen matrix year after year. Ricinoleic acid directly counters that process. It's like having a tiny firefighter inside every cell. The practical tip here is simple. Take a small amount of castor oil, about half a teaspoon, and warm it slightly between your palms. Then using your fingertips, massage it in slow upward circular motions across your cheeks, jawline, and neck before bed. Always upward, never downward. Gravity is already working against you 24 hours a day, and your massage should counteract it, not reinforce it. Pair castor oil with a few drops of vitamin E oil to enhance absorption, because vitamin E acts as a penetration enhancer that helps drive the ricinoleic acid deeper into the dermis. Give this 8 weeks of consistent nightly use before you evaluate results. Number 5 is marula oil. And if you haven't heard of this one, you're about to become a believer. Marula oil is pressed from the kernels of the marula tree, which grows across sub-Saharan Africa, and it has been used for skin preservation by indigenous communities for over 1,000 years. Modern science has now explained why. Marula oil is extraordinarily rich in oleic acid, approximately 72%. Which is a monounsaturated fatty acid that your aging skin is desperately hungry for. Here's the biology. As we age, the lipid barrier of our skin, think of that as the protective brick wall that keeps moisture inside and irritants outside, begins to deteriorate. After the age of 70, studies show that the skin's lipid production decreases by nearly 40% compared to what it produced at age 30. Marula oil steps in and essentially patches that deteriorating wall. Researchers at the South African Institute of Skin Science found that participants using marula oil twice daily for 12 weeks showed a 61% improvement in transepidermal water loss, meaning their skin was retaining dramatically more moisture. And when your skin is properly hydrated at the cellular level, it plumps from the inside out, making fine lines appear shallower and giving that supple, resilient texture that we associate with youthful skin. For application, use 2 to 3 drops, that's all you need, on clean skin in the morning before any other product. It absorbs within about 90 seconds and leaves no greasy residue, which makes it perfect as a base. Pair it with a broad-spectrum SPF, because marula oil makes your skin more receptive to UV protection, and the two together form a powerful anti-aging shield. I had a patient, Harold, 74 years old, from Nashville, Tennessee, who after years of dry, flaking skin that made him look much older than his age, started using marula oil every morning for 10 weeks. He told me the skin on his cheeks finally felt like skin again, not like parchment paper. Number 4 is pomegranate seed oil, and this one carries some of the most impressive clinical data I have seen in my career. Pomegranate seed oil contains a rare fatty acid called punicic acid. It's a conjugated linolenic acid found in virtually no other food or plant source on Earth. What makes punicic acid extraordinary is what it does to your skin's keratinocytes. Keratinocytes are the primary cells in the outer layer of your skin, and they are responsible for the skin's structural integrity. A study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology demonstrated that punicic acid stimulated keratinocyte proliferation, that's cell renewal, by 43% compared to control groups. For people over 60, this is profound. After the age of 60, your skin's natural cell turnover rate slows dramatically. Skin that used to renew itself every 28 days now takes 60 to 90 days. Dead, dull cells linger on the surface, creating that papery, gray-tinged appearance that makes us look exhausted even when we've slept well. Pomegranate seed oil accelerates that turnover cycle back toward what your body used to do naturally. It also contains ellagic acid, which has been shown in research at UCLA to inhibit the enzyme collagenase. That is the enzyme whose job it is to break down your existing collagen. By blocking collagenase, pomegranate seed oil is essentially putting a lock on the door that collagen destruction uses to enter. Apply it at night, 3 to 4 drops warm between your fingers, focusing on the areas where you first notice sagging, typically the nasolabial folds, the jawline, and directly under the eyes. Pair it with a facial roller or gua sha tool to encourage lymphatic drainage and push the oil deeper into your tissue. I want to be honest with you. Pomegranate seed oil is one of the more expensive oils on this list, but given what the science shows about its cellular impact, I consider it an investment, not an indulgence. Now, right here, right in the middle of this video, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I want to ask you to do that right now. Click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. I publish new evidence-based health content every single week, specifically designed for adults who are 60 and beyond, because you deserve information that is honest, practical, and actually built on science. And if this video is helping you, please give it a thumbs up. It tells me to keep making content like this, and it helps this information reach other people who need it. Now back to the list. Number 3 is rosehip seed oil, and I have to be direct with you. This oil has more clinical trials behind it than almost any other plant-based oil in dermatology. Rosehip seed oil is cold-pressed from the seeds of wild rose bushes, primarily Rosa canina, and it is one of the only plant oils that contains naturally occurring trans-retinoic acid, a form of vitamin A that works similarly to prescription tretinoin but without the irritation, the peeling, and the photosensitivity that makes tretinoin so difficult to use, especially for sensitive, aging skin. A randomized controlled trial conducted at the University of Santiago in Chile followed 60 participants between the ages of 45 and 70 for 8 weeks. Those using rosehip seed oil showed a 35% reduction in the depth of fine lines, a 44% improvement in skin brightness, and a statistically significant increase in collagen density measured by ultrasound imaging. Those are pharmaceutical-grade results from a plant oil. The mechanism is elegant. The trans-retinoic acid in rosehip oil binds to nuclear receptors inside your skin cells and essentially reprograms them to produce more collagen, more elastin, and more hyaluronic acid, the 3 pillars of youthful skin structure. Think of it as sending a memo directly to your cell's headquarters saying, "We need to rebuild and we need to do it now." For older skin specifically, rosehip seed oil also addresses hyperpigmentation, those brown spots that accumulate from decades of sun exposure, by inhibiting melanin transfer between cells. Use it every other night if your skin is sensitive, or nightly if your skin tolerates it well. 4 to 5 drops is the right amount. Always store your rosehip oil in a dark bottle in the refrigerator because it oxidizes quickly when exposed to light and air, and oxidized rosehip oil is not only less effective, it can actually irritate the skin. Pair it with a niacinamide serum for a synergistic combination that has been shown to improve the skin barrier, brighten tone, and reduce fine lines simultaneously, 3 different mechanisms working together. Dorothy is 78 years old, from Burlington, Vermont. She had age spots on her forehead and along her cheekbones that had been there for decades. After 6 weeks of using rosehip seed oil every other night, combined with a simple niacinamide serum in the mornings, the spots had faded by what she described as more than half. Her skin looked clearer and more even than it had in at least 15 years. Dorothy is not an anomaly. I have seen this pattern repeat in patient after patient. Number 2 is sea buckthorn oil, and this is the one that surprises even the most well-read people I speak with. Sea buckthorn is a shrub native to the Himalayan region and coastal northern Europe, and its berries produce an oil of almost supernatural nutritional density. Sea buckthorn oil contains over 190 bioactive compounds, vitamins, antioxidants, phytosterols, carotenoids, packed into a single oil. But the reason it earns the number 2 spot on this list is one specific compound: palmitoleic acid, which is an omega-7 fatty acid. Here's the critical fact about palmitoleic acid and aging skin. Your skin tissue naturally produces palmitoleic acid, and it uses it to maintain the structural integrity of the skin cell membrane. After the age of 75, your body loses approximately 35% of its capacity to synthesize palmitoleic acid on its own. That loss directly correlates with the thinning, fragility, and translucency of skin that we see in older adults. Sea buckthorn oil is one of the richest natural sources of palmitoleic acid on Earth, roughly 36% of its fatty acid content. Applying it topically is essentially giving your skin cells back the exact building material they've been running low on for years. A clinical investigation published in Phytomedicine followed 48 postmenopausal women, average age 68, who applied sea buckthorn oil daily for 3 months. Researchers documented a 47% improvement in skin elasticity and a significant reduction in what they called skin atrophy scores, meaning the skin was literally regenerating its thickness. One important practical note: sea buckthorn oil is intensely orange colored. Applied directly, it will temporarily tint the skin, so I recommend mixing it. 2 drops of sea buckthorn into 10 drops of a carrier oil like jojoba or sweet almond oil. This dilutes the color while preserving the active compounds. Use it at night, and by morning the pigment will have absorbed and faded. Pair it with a vitamin C serum during the day to amplify collagen synthesis from both directions, inside the cell and outside. And now number 1, the one oil that has earned its place at the very top of this list not because of tradition or anecdote, but because of science. Number 1 is bakuchiol oil. I know some of you may have never heard of it, and that is exactly the problem. Bakuchiol is extracted from the seeds of the Sorolea coralifolia plant, which has been used in Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine for centuries. But it wasn't until 2014 that British dermatologists at the University of Manchester began conducting rigorous clinical trials comparing bakuchiol directly to synthetic retinol, the gold standard of anti-aging skin treatment for decades. What they found stunned the dermatology world. In a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial, the highest standard of clinical evidence, bakuchiol performed identically to retinol in reducing fine lines, wrinkles, and hyperpigmentation over a 12-week period, identically. But here's what made the results truly remarkable. The bakuchiol group experienced none of the side effects that made retinol difficult or impossible for so many older patients to use. No redness, no peeling, no sun sensitivity, no burning. For seniors with thin, sensitive, reactive skin, this distinction is not cosmetic, it is everything. Mechanistically, bakuchiol activates the same retinoic acid receptors in your skin cells that prescription tretinoin activates, but it does so through a slightly different molecular pathway that does not trigger the inflammatory cascade that causes retinol's irritation. Think of it as 2 different keys that open the same door, but one of the keys opens it gently while the other one kicks it in. And for skin that has already been through 60, 70, or 80 years of life, gentle and effective is the exact combination we need. The mitochondrial angle here is also worth understanding. Mitochondria are the energy factories inside every cell. As we age, our mitochondria become less efficient. They produce less energy and generate more cellular waste products called free radicals. Those free radicals attack your collagen and elastin fibers the way rust attacks metal. Bakuchiol has been shown in cell culture studies at the Salk Institute to activate the NRF2 pathway, the body's master antioxidant switch, which essentially tells your mitochondria to clean up their act, produce less oxidative waste, and protect the surrounding tissue. The result is skin that isn't just appearing younger on the surface, but actually functioning younger at the cellular level. For application, use 4 to 5 drops of bakuchiol oil every night on clean, dry skin. Apply it to the entire face and neck, paying special attention to the forehead, the area between the brows, the smile lines, and the jawline. Because bakuchiol does not increase photosensitivity the way retinol does, it is safe to use even if you go out in the morning without applying heavy sun protection first, though I always recommend SPF 30 or higher regardless of what you use at night. The ideal pairing for bakuchiol is hyaluronic acid. Apply a hyaluronic acid serum first while your skin is still slightly damp from washing, then apply the bakuchiol oil on top to seal the hyaluronic acid in. Hyaluronic acid is like a sponge that holds up to 1,000 times its weight in water, and when you lock it under bakuchiol oil, your skin becomes hydrated and structurally supported at the same time. I have seen patients experience visible firmness improvements within 3 to 4 weeks, faster than virtually any other natural oil on this list. James is 67 years old from Portland, Oregon. He came to me embarrassed because he felt like caring about his skin wasn't something men were supposed to do. He had deep horizontal lines across his forehead and significant looseness along his jaw. He tried bakuchiol oil every night for 10 weeks, paired with a simple hyaluronic acid serum, and nothing else changed in his routine. At his follow-up, I used a skin analysis device to measure his collagen density and his skin's hydration levels. Collagen density had improved by 22%, hydration had increased by 38%. The lines on his forehead were objectively shallower. James told me that for the first time in years, he didn't avoid photographs. That is what this is really about. Here is what I need you to understand before I let you go. Your skin is not broken. It is not defeated. It is responding to the inputs you give it. And right now, for millions of people over 60, those inputs have been inadequate. Not because of any failure on your part, but because the information was never made available to you in a clear, honest way. The skin you have today is not the skin you have to live with forever. The biology of renewal does not stop at 60 or 70 or 80. It slows, yes. It needs more intentional support, yes. But it never stops entirely. And with the right tools, particularly bakuchiol oil at the foundation, layered with complementary oils based on your specific skin concerns, you can give your body what it needs to do, what it already knows how to do: heal, rebuild, and restore. Your independence, your confidence, your willingness to look in the mirror and recognize yourself, these things matter profoundly. They affect your mood, your social engagement, your sense of identity. It is never too late to feel at home in your own skin again. And I mean that not as a motivational phrase, but as a clinical observation after more than 2 decades of watching patients transform when they finally get the right information. All scientific references for today's video are listed in the description below. Please read them. Don't take my word for it. Look at the research yourself. Now, before you close this video, I want you to do 2 things. First, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Second, leave me a comment below and tell me which of these 6 oils you're going to try first. And if you've already used any of them, tell me what you're